Welcome to the No Manga Podcast, a weekly show about all things skateboarding. My name is Rick Beta. Shout out to all the OG listeners out there. Yeah, I see you. Well, I don't really see you, but you know what I mean. I know you're out there, you know. I appreciate it. You can follow along on social media at Rick Beta. That's RickBata. Or you can also email the show, nomangapodcast@gmail.com. So you know how you have those brands that you sort of always forget about, but almost all the time, but are amazed to see new content, from them when you do. Dogtown is one of those brands for me. I don't know, for some reason, I just can't seem to get out of the past, like on its way out or it's done. It's just no longer, RIP, but that's not the case. Sure, I see their ads and Thrasher, etc., but it's been about a year, actually a year and a half since we last saw something outside of like the Z-Boys documentary, from Dogtown, and namely Shota Kubo. Shota, he's the son of Shota Kubo, R.I.P., one of the original, of course, legendary Z-Boys way back from 1975. My birthday, my birthday year, I should say. But yeah, so we don't really see too many edits from Dogtown these days, which I guess now I think about it. In fact, I almost just kept on scrolling, but something was kind of pulling me in, and I'm kind of glad I did. Shota, he's got this like very laid back style, island vibe to him, but he can still kill it on a skateboard. So he's got that vibe to him as well. And his trick and spot selections are like chef's kiss, amazing. For example, his opening trick is a wall ride. Well, it's a bank to wall ride to I just wrote down a makeshift roof, because that's the best way I could describe it. It's like, does that keep the rain out? What's down there? Is that like the basement? And who decided to attempt a trick at that spot, Oh, of course, that was you, Shota. For one, that spot doesn't look fun at all, And I'd probably have like more luck trying a caveman, maybe a caveman grind on that tiny little rail on the other side, the one that's, tucked up against the wall. Yeah, I'd probably have a better shot at doing that than a wall ride. This wall ride it looks like such a chore to do. I wonder how many attempts he took, but of course he did it like it was nothing, no big deal. And then his very next trick, a picture perfect. I think they used that for the thumbnail, right, in the video. Now I think about it, a picture perfect no comply that like over that bank gap. I mean, is that? I was thinking, is that Wallows? But it's not, right? It's not Wallows. But yeah, pause it at 43 seconds. Just look at that. Print that bad boy out, slap it on like page 5 of the next issue of, No Comply Weekly. And that would be it was just beautiful. I can't stop staring. I want to do one like that. Just float it like that. Got the board basically like slapping the inner part of your knee and just kind of make it all work and land. Actually, notice where his feet were upon landing, because he was going down that bank. He had to make some quick adjustments too, even before rolling down that bank and, hitting the flat. It's not an easy thing to do. That next trick, he was just going right to the heart, just a dagger to the heart of Mike Vallely. And if he hasn't seen that one yet, someone please let Mike know. Just kind of tap him on the shoulder. Hey, Mike, I know I got something to show you. You know how hard it is to do that trick at that spot? Ask Mike, or Shota. They'll tell you. They'll actually show you. It's not an easy trick. I had to do a pause rewind about 57 seconds in, only because it took my brain a moment to register, okay? That is not an easy trick to do there, And look how much he cleared that rail by. And to do it frontside? Come on, man. I was like, take it easy. Well, I guess technically you are. He's such a laid-back style, but you know what I'm saying. Moments later, he was seen doing a nollie front heel at the bank of Hawaii. And it was that one over the bench. I guess if he can do, pop the crap out of a big spin in that direction, I guess it makes sense that only, a nollie heel isn't too far behind, so it just makes sense. But like I said, I loved all the spots, he chose and the trick selections. The song choice was chill too. It all fit the vibe of the edit, perfectly. Shout out to Shota for basically keeping Dogtown alive, keeping it on the map, keeping me in check. Because I honestly, like I said, I kind of forget about Dogtown. I see them in the magazines. So, oh yeah, that's right, they're still around. It's not an easy task to kind of keep them relevant. Shota's doing that. So much respect, dude. So I was also able to watch this past week another video that slipped through the cracks for me this past decade, right? That's right. I'm talking about Daewon Song's In Transition part. And I think I'd seen clips of it. I never saw it in its entirety, right? But, courtesy of the Barracks, YouTube page, and it is exactly what it says, too. In transition. Daewon skating transition like the boss that he is. And the video, like I said, it's about a decade. So it was released in 2014, right around when my twins were about 2 years old. So that explains probably why I missed it. I was a little busy trying to keep my then toddlers alive at the time, making sure they had food, making sure their butts were wide, making sure the diapers weren't full. You know what I'm saying? But now I think about it, though, I still can't believe that it never popped up on like my radar over this past decade. Anyway, but I'm here all for it now. Loose trucks and all, but especially for his first trick, that front truck. I mean, you've all seen it already. I know I'm just catching up, right? But it was a backside Smith, and it was beautiful. And it's always a trip to kind of see his trucks wiggle and wobble around like that. So I was fixated on I like the Smith grind, but also focused on that front truck. So I was like, good job, Daewon. Oh, just killing it on transition too, man. Moments later, the slow motion. I wrote down Rad movie-esque. The intro to Rad, of course, and the intro to the edit. The front side. It's like getting ready to break the ice. It would have been a perfect match, right? Popped in my head as soon as I saw that Daewon flying up. Picture those mag wheels spinning in the movie Rad. Oh, and that blunt kickflip to Fakie, 36 seconds in. We're only 36 seconds in, keep in mind. Had me smashing the pause rewind button. 36 seconds, blunt kickflip to Fakie. He does that so easily and effortlessly, but I wanted to point out just how steep that transition is. Yeah, exactly. That's about, 6-7 feet? Like a boss. And what the hell were we looking at about 52 seconds in? Those of you who have seen this video many times before or know it, backwards and forwards by heart. Is it a Buddha? Is it some alien? What is that? What the hell is that? Can someone please let me know? 52 seconds in. Just pause it. Stare at it. I stared at it. I couldn't figure it out. And then he had to one-up his blunt kickflip to Fakie with, adding in a manual, of course. 111. That was deliberate, right? That was not on accident. Some may say that was an accident. 99% of you guys doing that trick, it would be an accident, but not with Daewon. That was intentional. Yeah, he meant to do that. Don't knock it. Don't even think about it. What I liked about this video is how skilled he is. I mean, he was back then, and still is, at the old school tricks, keeping them around. This is 2014, his picture-perfect saran wrap at 1:25. Picture perfect. No one does them better than him, too, right? Because I was thinking about I can't even think of another skater who's done them somewhat recently. Chris Haslam, did he do them too? Damn, I'm trying to think. No, Danny Wade, no. Hosoi, who's done a saran wrap in the last decade? And who else has them down as well as Daewon does? Mullen could do them on flat, right? Yeah. Somebody say, oh, it's Mullen, right? He does them on flat though. It was for freestyle. But I can't think of another skater who's done them recently. So if you do, let me know. I tried doing a little Google search, saran wrap, launch ramp, or recently I couldn't find it. And that was always one of the hard ones to do off launch ramps too. Now I think about it, because only you had to get that nose up to get that wrap around, which made the landing on all four wheels much more difficult, right? So if you didn't time it right, you'd snap your tail, right? So. And if you had to get high enough for those weren't easy to do. So another thing I was surprised about this video is how it got me a little emotional. I'm not going to lie. I mean, no joke. I'm being serious. I just kept tripping out about just how talented this guy is. On so many levels, right? We're watching him do his work in transition in the park. It's a DIY park. It's on cement. It's not a wooden ramp, which we've all seen, he's seen him destroy as well. But his line starting at 1:49 was so smooth, so amazing. Just the way he whips those reverts around, like it's a thing of beauty. And he does them with such authority too. You know, it's like this full confidence. There's no doubt, and he just got it down. And how about his line about 2 minutes in? See, that's the thing. I'm geeking out this much, and it's only been 2 minutes. That's why I had to talk about this video. But yeah, the line at 2 minutes in, he sets up for what? He did the crail slide, front 5-0, setting up for a gloriously tweaked like frontside grab to fakie. Had to point that out. That thing was twanked and danked, all that stuff. But he wasn't done. No, he pumped back to a disaster stall, and then proceeded to come back down and bust out a pendulum. Yes! Oh, he's tugging at my heartstrings right now. Saran wrap earlier, pendulum now. Another classic launch ramp trick done on transition. Yeah, hell freaking yeah. I love that trick. They look so great. So awesome. Look at the amount of air time needed to pull it off. He's got to kick back, kick forward. It's not easy. Or wait, is it the other way? No, kick back? Yeah, you kick back. Either way. He wasn't on a vert ramp either, you know? It wasn't on a mega ramp either. Much respect, man. And to fakie, too? Come on. Oh, and then another class. I just checked my list here. I just checked my notes, too. So he did another one, but I can't remember the name of it. I'm blanking on it. I kept thinking it's called Around the World. Help me out, guys. Go back and watch this video, 234. What is that? Is that called Around the World, where you basically shoot the board out, you go through your legs, and then grab it and bring it back around? Is that Around the World? I think I got that right. Because saran wrap's on the top of the board, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't figure, but I was like, damn, you know. I always used to try those, but I wouldn't even come close. You know, I used to try those into the grass, and like, yeah, you know, whatever. But there was just too much going on, and not enough air for me, you know. Maybe even when one of my buddies back in the day had that 4-foot launch ramp. I think I've talked about it before, but I don't know. That was such a hard trick to do. We did it, yeah. On transition, no big deal. To Figgy, no big deal. And don't discount, you know, all the tricks he did on transition with that flat bar that was hanging down. You know, starting at 322, you mess around doing those the wrong way, and you could end up seriously getting hurt, like big time. And he did that was it the 360 flip one? Come on, man. How is that even possible? And then the final one, too. Like, he barely gets that truck on there. Oh, mind equals blown. But yeah, so the first 3.5 minutes, they were insane. And then like the rest of the like 6 minutes left or whatever it was, we got to hear from the man himself. We kind of got to get into his cranium a little bit. So that was kind of cool, you know. And I loved how he talked about, yeah, you know, as we get older, everyone's like, oh, I'm just going to skate transition, you know. Yeah. He's like, yeah, come here. You'll get pitched. You'll get thrown to the ground. You'll be heading out to the streets in no time. You know, it's just equivalent to, you know, when you say, oh, yeah, it's about the same as getting thrown down from like a 12 stair. Yeah, sure. That's true, though. If you think about it, if you had a choice, you're like, you got to try and trick on a, you know, like a bowl or stairs. I think I would probably try. I would rather bail on the stairs because you figure at least you had a chance to try and walk it out, right? You can kick your board out, try and walk it out. You might hurt your ankles, wherever you try and step down. On transition, your face equals the flat. There's no like kind of sliding out of it, right? So yeah, I would take that choice. So Daewon, I see your point because it's true. You think you're tough on street skating and or you're older, you want to skate transition. It's still just as hard. Good point, man. Good point. I wanted to point that out. But yeah, Daewon, he's a solid dude and a one-of-a-kind talent. I know I've talked about him before, you know, and I can't believe it took me almost 10 years to see this, you know. I guess better late than never, right? Better late than never. And I'll put it down, you know, in the notes below for maybe the one or two other people tuning in the world who haven't seen it yet. So, yeah, Rick, welcome to the club, dude. Yeah, good job, Rick. Pat yourself on the back. Yeah. Saw Daewon's in transition part from 2014. Yeah. Good job, dude. But I know the fact that, you know, I'll never get caught up in all of skate media. We know that we can't, you know, but I always give it a fighter's chance. You know, I always, you know, sure, it's like punching waterfalls at time, right? It just, but at least I'm not giving up. I'll be literally. I'll be in my 90s watching skate videos. I still might even be doing this podcast. I still might be doing this podcast. Episode 114,000. I don't know. Who knows? Don't laugh. I might still be around back then. But my point is, I'm still going to watch the skate videos. And isn't that a trip to say, too? I'm going to watch the skate. I'm never going to not watch skate videos. Even if I can't skate, like physically, I'll still always watch skate videos. I'm going to show my great-great-great-grandkids skate videos. Hey, kids, come around. We're going to watch Animal Chin. Let's go find Animal Chin, guys. Anyway. But I give, Daewon Song's In Transition part 2 very big thumbs up. And I'm holding them right now. So speaking of big thumbs, the new Baker video with Figgy, Lyric, and Riley dropped a few days ago. Sure, the focus was, just on the 3 of them, but they had a much-needed montage in there. So we got to see some, the OGs in there, too. And I'm not sure why I'm trying to link big thumbs to it, but anyway, I'm just going to kind of roll over that like it never was said. But Figgy got things started off with a huge nollie flip from, like, the freeway, right? Or some crazy ditch spot, or whatever that bank is. But what's crazy is I didn't notice that it was in the rain the first time around. I watched the video, I was like, oh, sweet, yeah, definitely, I would definitely want to talk about it. So I watched it again. I'm like, dude, he did that in the rain? I just thought it was sweat, I just assumed, like, he was very, very sweaty. And I'm kind of surprised he didn't end up in the river. That was very close there, Figgy. Very, very close. But that was cool. In the rain, doing that. Underappreciated. Then they had, the title cards. Figgy, Lyric. But did anyone else get freaked out when they put Riley's name on the screen? All we saw for a moment there was a black pair of boots and a cane. Dude was like just walking gingerly. I was like, no, not Riley. You guys took Trey Lance from me, not Riley. I was like, what happened to him? I legit thought it was Riley for a moment. I was like, whew. But now I was like, pretty funny trick there, Andrew. You got me. But I was like, damn, for a second I was, what, dude, Riley's aged quickly. But I always click play like quick fast whenever I see a new Baker video drop and come up, and this crew is good and just seems to be getting better and better. And they're stacking too. They keep stacking. They're trying to keep up with real, But Baker never disappoints, and neither does Figgy. In fact, it's like Figgy, is he the most casual big skater of all time? Much like, Daewon's In Transition, he makes it look like we can all do it, right? Maybe it's just because he's kind of tall, but whenever I see him skate rails, I'm like, I have this like weird tingling in my legs, like a spider sensation, like I have this sudden superpower or something. Like I should be like, come on, Rick, just pop on there and grind or slide, man. Come on, seriously, no need for cavemans. No, Rick, you can't run. No, it doesn't count, dude. You got to pop up there. Slide about 40 feet. You could do it. Cavemans aren't allowed. Those are illegal, right? In some people's eyes, not mine. But he made that 5-0 at 111 look so effortless. Like we can all do them, right? It's like, come on, guys, you could do it. Do a 5-0 on a round rail. Yes. See, that's what I don't understand is, how do you do those things on a long round rail? How do you not slip out? Or slip back, right? Because a 5-0, you tend to kind of, it'll slip out from underneath you and you fall on your back on the rail, right? But he was so locked in. Like, actually, he could be another character in like a Shrimp Daddy edit, like we're the ones that just grinds, and they shoot him off. And he was in that pose. He was locked in. He was grinding for days for this part. The Skate 3. Is it Skate 3? I haven't played Skate 3 in so long. Is it Skate 3 you can find like your grind distance, or was that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater? I don't know. Either way, his video game stats were high for this one, grinding, and specifically for rails. And moments later, he was grinding on his other truck, of course. Nose grind, nollie flip out, minute 26. See, that's... Okay, deep breath. That's another trick that my brain will never fully comprehend as well. Because how do you do those on a round roll as well without, like, you have to be pinched, right? You have to be locked in. I want it to make sense. I'm trying to talk it out, to vocalize it, so I help understand it more. Because you think about the momentum, I guess, of the grind, and the angle, it makes it easier to nollie flip out, right? But it still does not compute in my brain. They shouldn't be that easy, Figgy. I know Shane O'Neal's done before. I mean, it's one of those tricks. I'm like, damn, when I see him, I'm like, okay, let me pretend like I'm doing it. I'm closing my eyes now. I'm visualizing it. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be able to do the nollie flip out. I can't do nollie flips on flat. It just doesn't make sense on a round rail. And how about that dog sighting, minute 35? And that dog sense danger, right? It seemed to know something was up, because the ears are like erect and tall, and it looked like it was just stiff, you know? That was the sign right there, right? Is that a warning sign? Nuge was lucky he was going out of it with just a layer of his, Wu-Tang tattoos removed, you know? He got lucky there. That dog sensed something. He was like, even when he went up to do the trick, see how the dog just kind of, his posture is like, row. It knew something was up. Should have noticed that. Sammy Baca, I wrote down that. We got a Sammy Baca sighting. Yeah. And then he vanished in the black hole, right? Only to return like 4 hours later. It was crazy. 4 hours later. They edited that part out. But many people were kind of worried about Mr. Baca. But, 4 hours later, he comes walking out of there, dude. Where'd you go, dude? So glad they did edit there, because I wouldn't want to wait around that long. And Figgy's ender was ridiculous, okay? I just had to point out the fact that he did that on a flat or square rail, right? Just to kind of rub it in, just how skilled at rails he is. I was like, that's not cool, dude. That's not cool at all. It's uncalled for. So many things could go wrong there. So many things. And I guess it makes sense you want to do that you couldn't do that. Oh gosh, don't get my brain thinking again. You can't do that on a round rail, right? Or would it be easier on is he flexing because he's doing it on a square rail? I think he is. That's way more difficult on a square rail. Damn. Just had a light bulb moment talking that out. That was nuts. Absolutely nuts. And Lyric, he was up next, and he ended up going trashing. Yeah. Shout out to Leticia for his opening attempt. I still don't know what happened to him either. I didn't see a rock or anything in the way, and he didn't get wheel bite, right? I didn't see that. I watched the whole the video on my phone too, and I kind of tried to zoom in, or I held it close to my eyeball. I still have no idea what happened. Dude got pitched. Was it a gust of wind, maybe? I mean, either way, though, Lyric was trashing, man. Yeah, trashing. Straight up. But I did notice, though, Lyric, he was channeling his inner, boss with that frontside flip at 456. And he said that was his first one he'd done on a set of stairs. So, yeah. Now, I see that. I see you. And don't think I didn't notice how you had that PD hoodie on, too. Yeah. Talk about full commitment. Back when PD was kind of in full swing, full momentum. Talk about, full commitment, right? Much like method acting, right? Actors, they're, in their character all day long, even though they're not being recorded. Dude was kind of method skating, Actually, you know what? That doesn't make sense. Method skating. What are you talking about, Rick? But you know where I'm going, He was in the mindset of the boss. But, I got to say, though, be careful with that PD sweater, yo. Careful. That's a dark path that pretty much 99% of the rest of the team have already went down. They've moved on. They've seen the light. They've changed. But you know what? I think, actually, as a matter of fact, is PD or, RPD still a thing? Are there really PDs anymore? Or prostate done. Maybe, I don't know. I like how they tricked us around 5 minutes, 9 seconds in, though. It's over by the East Taylor. I wrote down the street sign because they had the little street sign. We saw the street sign behind him. Saw him getting all pumped up. He was hyping himself up. I was like, all right, got this, It's all you could see was blue skies behind him. Oh, damn. I was starting to get sweaty palms. I had no idea how high he was, right? I was like, oh, boy. I was like, what are you thinking, dude? Are you suicidal? Are you okay? Lyric? Don't do it, man. And he dropped in about 6 feet or so. I mean, that's a pretty big feat. Don't get me wrong. It's just my brain thought it was like twice or 3 times the amount that dropped. I was like, oh, damn. Oh, that was it? Oh, okay. All right, cool. Much respect. So I wonder if it would have been more cinematic, right? With the framing. We just had him just completely the whole time in. Or maybe there was a point they wanted us to see the East Taylor sign. I don't know. Whatever. I didn't make this video. And moments later, we had a Theotis sighting. And my first thought was like, are you okay, man? You seem very sweaty. Or very peed on, to say the least. Are you good, Theotis? I mean, that's a lot of sweat and or pee. Just making sure you're all good, Someone get this guy some electrolytes. Coconut water's good to kind of restore your, hydrate you, I should say. Get him that, man. He's got to be dehydrated. Yeah, I'm going to assume that was sweat, man, right? It was also nice seeing a Kevin Long sighting as well. And I just put down FYI. If you can do back 180 flips into the street, off of it was a driveway curb, you are a good skater, right? So if you're a new skater out there and you can do back 180 flips into the street, you're a good skater. Those are hard to do in the streets. Streets are rough. The angle of that's rough. I don't make the rules. I'm just saying. Rick said, if I can do back 180 flip in the street off the driveway, I'm good. You're a good skater. Pat yourself on the back. Kevin did a great one there, too. It was nice to see him. And, of course, it was all wrapped up with Riley Hawk. And in fact, we got to see and witness our very first ever, quote, that guy looks like Tony Hawk. And actually, it really wasn't Tony Hawk kind of moment. You get what I'm saying? Because, we always hear Tony Hawk saying, oh, yeah, he gets that all the time. But that was legit. That guy looks like Tony Hawk. But it wasn't Tony Hawk. That woman, 705, she just couldn't figure it out yet. She was thinking it. She was thinking it. So that was probably the first of many for Riley. He's like, oh, boy. He's going to start tweeting it out, too. Like, all right, I'm going to write a book about these. You look like Tony Hawk. Yeah, it's my dad. But I dug the vibe of this whole part. The song choice was good, too. It brought me back to the days of, remember FM radio, But, remember that? CDs and records. Well, records are back. But, I'm going with that. But key thing is you have to put on headphones when you're watching this part. Watching this whole part. Crank it up, too. So if you didn't do it the first time around, do it now. Trust me. You'll thank me later. A couple tricks I liked that I jotted down for him was I liked the back-to-back Smith grind kickflip variations. So it was about 748. He did that. It was a kickflip front Smith. It was at that ditch spot. And then he did a Smith grind kickflip at the, I wrote business sign. Was it a business sign? Or whatever that thingy was. I think it was a business sign. So whatever you call them. But my mind is drawing blank in the moment. But that was cool. I noticed that. That was intentional. I know it was intentional in the edit too. I know, showing off his skills. But what I like about Riley is that he can also huck it down like some of the most insane stuff, For example, like, his frontside flip, it's like they were all like, hey, boss, do we need to do frontside flip? But his down the gap at 928, that was huge. Or it's like Borat would say, it's nice. It's nice. I'm telling you, he's got him down, He then busted out another good one at that. Is that a New York spot? I think it's in New York. 10 minutes, 16 seconds. He was rocking that, Red Riding hoodie. And notice how when he moves it away from his face so he can proceed to roll down the bank with, with full visibility. That was gangsta, Riley. Don't think I didn't notice that, dude. You got to have that, let's see. Yeah, it would be your left eye. Yeah, dude. Got to have that left eye visible. That was gangster though. So like just nonchalant. Like, let me just move this out of my face and roll away. But not only, can Riley hook it down big stuff. I love how he can hang on big rails too. He can compete with like some of the best of them, right? That 50-50, 10 minutes, 23 seconds in. The one he basically went up and over, right? So I wish they had left the first angle for us to see all the way through because I would appreciate it a little bit more, but they edited it right before the ollie. But that was a huge rail. Figgy, it'd be like, he'd probably give a thumb. He would just nod. He's like, yeah, approve. Figgy approves. So good. And be sure to stick around for his, post fade to black, lip slide. You won't be disappointed. Plus, you get to see Zach Allen. He reminds us all that we're number one. He's like, hey, I'm doing it right now. You're number one. I'm doing it in the mic now. You're number one. Yeah, that's you. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Number one. Surprised we haven't seen that security guard again. Remember I talked about that from Baker 4? That security guard's like, oh man, I'm on my lunch break. What did he say? I could do that. Yeah. I just need a board. I'm on my lunch break or something. Oh, I need to watch that again. I know I was talking about that security guard live. Oh yeah. He likes to say he can skate security guard guy. If I wasn't on lunch, I could do that. Yeah, man, first try. Yeah. But back to that lip slide, the post faded black one. Does anyone know where that spot is? It looks so fun, you know? He was just kind of bloop, bloop, bloop. Although I probably wouldn't even be able to do just a ride and drop down that thing. I'd probably get pitched by the second try. But yeah, great part from Riley Hawk from the Baker crew. I mean, you know the name. Riley can definitely hold it down too, you know? He's out there killing it in the streets. Keep doing you, Riley. Keep doing you, because it's working, you know? And it's been so fun to see your journey along the way, you know? And Riley's just, he's just basically getting started. That's so crazy too, real quick. I think about it, like I thought about, when I saw Mark Johnson, Avery Johnson's video, I'm like, it's crazy. Well, for one, how we didn't even see that coming for Avery, but we've kind of seen Riley skating over the years, but how it just, certain genetics work, certain vibrations, whatever you want to call it, like they skate well. But then you have some pros that they have kids and they either don't get into skating or just not as good. It's just so crazy, you know? So Hawk, of course. I mean, of course, Hawk, of his many kids, one of them had to be a ripper. And, of course. It just makes sense, you know? But I'll put the video in the links below. Be sure to check it out. Even if you're a Baker hater. Trust me. But yeah, wear your headphones too. At least for Riley's part. And finally, want to tell you about a Michael Burnett sighting. Yes, that's right. My wife was flying back home from a business trip yesterday and happened to walk right past Mr. Burnett, you know? And she had one of those, you look in the eyes for a quick moment, quick second, and it's that awkward moment where both parties have that, one side says in their brain, you look familiar, and the other side says, I think this person recognized me moments. Yeah, she had one of those. She basically almost bumped elbows with Michael, you know? It's like one of those meet cutes on TV they always talk about, right? In the movies. But I mentioned this because she called me right after. I think I was just getting off work or whatever. First she texted me, so I left you a message, and it hadn't popped up on my phone. I'm like, I don't see a message yet. And she's like, she just wanted to say that she just like, oh, I ran into him. She couldn't remember his name at the moment. She's like, Editor-in-Chief and Thrasher and this and that. She's like, she knew, of course, about him. And she even wanted to say something and even plug this show as well. I was like, yes, that's how ride or die my wife is. Okay. Just the fact that she would plug or pitch or just, shout it out to Michael freaking Burnett tells me that I have a real winner. You know, can you imagine because I was laughing, well, babe, what would you have said? Just like, hey, no manga podcast, run away. But you can imagine though, if she actually did, I could picture Michael like, oh, that's neat. He's like kind of looking at his watch. Well, I got to catch this flight. What is it called? No Pongo? And my wife would be she just agrees. Yeah. And as she's walking away, oh my gosh, I didn't correct him. But I don't know. And then she'd be like, run from the strange woman. But I just had to mention that. But unfortunately, she didn't know the two skaters that were with him. I told her maybe we kind of, maybe we can figure it out, or maybe I can pull up some mags or some images, or maybe I'll be on the lookout for maybe something that's gonna be coming out soon. Possible footage out of Phoenix, Arizona. I mean, or not. I mean, maybe they were just getting having a connecting flight or something. I don't know. I told my wife we'll try and figure it out. I'll be on the lookout. But I guess these guys had like specific kind of hair, so it doesn't really narrow it down, right? But if she can kind of describe it, we can kind of go FBI on and we'll figure this out. I'll figure it out, and I'll tell you once we do find out. So, but either way, thanks for being you, Mr. Burnett. Thanks for being you. And actually, now that I think about it, how awesome does it make you feel? I'm talking to you, Michael. That even my wife knows who you are. She doesn't skate. My wife knows who you are. Or does that say more about how awesome I am as a husband / skater? I'll let you guys debate that. That's a damn good question, Rick. Because if I wasn't like, I'm sure it was King of the Road, but still, I was watching it, and my wife got hooked on that show. Are we ever gonna get those back again, you guys? Anyway, so yeah, am I the awesome one because my wife knows about Michael Burnett, or is it just because Michael Burnett's awesome? That is the question. I'm not gonna answer it, although I kind of already did. I'll let you guys decide. Talk to you next week. Peace.